Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming tonight. Tonight's lecture is in partnership with Sony. The lecturer is Mr. Mohamed Abdelwahab, and it's about how to maximize your mirrorless camera. So I hope that everyone will enjoy the lecture. We will have the first part up to 7:15, and then we'll have 15 to 20 minutes break till 7:35. After that, we'll proceed in the second part, and the last section will be questions and answers. Please, Mr. Mohammed.
Oh, okay, thank you. So mainly, like I was like working in media industry and cinema industry. So we was like shooting like a lot of time, like 12, 13 hour every day. So my challenge, it was like which gear that I will use. So before, like I was using DSLR system. My first mirrorless system, I got it in 2013. It was A7R Mark I. And during this time that no mirrorless, and just like the was like see the camera that it's small, it's look not similar to the DSLR, so they was like, really you will shoot like real things with this small camera? So my answer to be yes, because the result will talk, not me. So the main things, and here just like mainly we share common interests, and this interest, it will be photography. So just like here, like how many here like the using camera? Of course, all. But like how many like real pro, like full-time photographers here? Okay. And how many Sony users in this room? Okay, great. So I will talk today even like what's the difference between like mirrorless system, DSLR system. What is the main difference? Because both of them be taking pictures in the end, but like what is the main difference between both systems? And before, just like I will talk about the system, just like I can show you like few pictures that I use it with a different Sony system, because like maybe I am lucky that I'm working in Sony, so I can get like to use cameras before anyone use it or before it's coming to the market. So, and every time that once I use it, it's really impressed me, just like for the fact of like the quality or the dynamic range or like the speed of the focus system, that many things that the users, they share it as a feedback that this X features, it will not work properly, or how we can use it. But in the end, I found it that it's easy to use compared to the DSLR system. And most of the pictures that I didn't focus right now in a specific genre of photography, just I shoot almost everything. So like for example, like here, this pictures that I use it with A9. So the main things that it was like challenging during this time, it was like the sun and the dynamic range and how can I pull the shadow, because like in most of the system or most of the others camera, it will be almost most of the scene, it will be like silhouette or black, because like the sun already it's in front of you. But like once I start to use Sony system, I find it that it's very easy to recover all these details, and without even losing any quality. This is the main things that most of us, just like we can recover, but we lose a lot of quality. You can find like a lot of grains. Sometimes you didn't get like full details once you start to recover. Other things, like for example here, I use it with the 7 Mark III, and most of the shots here, just I take one camera, one lens, no tripod, no nothing. Because like I don't need tripod. Later we will know why. Because there is almost like built-in gimbal inside the camera. So once I travel, let's say, or once you're going for street photography or anything, just you will take your camera and your lenses. That's it. You don't need to get like extra accessory with you during the shooting. Even like here, I use like A7R3, and it was like just I take it once we was like inside the car, so it's not like we didn't stop, I didn't use my tripod, I didn't do anything, so it will be like very, like even the street, it was not like an off-roading thing, so it will be very difficult for you to shoot, and it was like easy for me to use it once I want to shoot it once I use Sony cameras. Even like here, I use it with the A9, I think it was like 7200, and even the elephant was like very near to us. And it will be like somehow like, there is anyone here like shooting wildlife or bird or anything? Yeah, so you will know that one of the main challenge, the shutter sound. Once you start for like bird photography or wildlife, just like shutter sound change the animal behaviors. It makes it like once they hear like this, you will think that there is something. They will start to looking for you, or they start to go. So with the silent shooting, that you will, like similar to your mobile phone. Like once you do it silent, you take one pictures, you didn't hear anything. That's what you can do with Sony system, all Sony cameras, and especially for A9, that there is a lot of unique features once it's coming to the silent shooting, and I will highlight it later. Other things like, for example here, and even like in low light, you can get like very nice image with low grains and less noise. Even if you will use like high ISO, you still can use the camera with a very high ISO. As I remember this one, it was like maybe more than, I remember more than like 2000 ISO, and still very clean, and there is no grains. And the pictures, even like for outdoor, it's very easy to use it like with a low angle, because as a design point of view, that it will be easy for me just like to change the screen, and I can just like shoot from here. I don't need just like to sleep in the ground just like we do it before once you start using DSLR. Even like here, it was like in Hatta, that it's very easy for you to get all the details, the dynamic range, and how you can recover it. Even in street, it will be very easy for you just like to take the camera and just like shoot. You don't need like, even it will be easy because like you know that the big cameras in street photography, it's make big issue. Sometimes they stop you, don't shoot, or sometimes the people, they will tell you, no, you will use this picture for what? They will think that you will use this picture for something. So even the camera, it will affect your photography somehow, even the size of the camera. But with a small system, it will be easy for you to go for street photography. No one just like will tell you like, what are you doing? Because sometimes you don't see it. Even with a long exposure, you can get like a very decent quality with the camera, and how you can just like you see all the details and highlights and in dark area. Even like for example, like for me, one of the main things that with Sony system, just like to change it from DSLR, that during the set in any movie, the main challenge for you, two things: to be fast, there is no mistakes, plus the sound. The most you find that all the time between the photographer and the sound engineer, there is very bad relation because the shutter sound. But that's why like during like 2013, I was like dreaming that why there is no silent shooting during this time. Because like I can shoot during the scene it's happened. So even as a production point of view, you can just like save the production because like you don't want to make the actors act two times. One time in front of the photographer, one time in front of the cinematographer. So And most of the time, even during the set, it's low light. Everything is low light, low light, low light. There is no flash. Everything continuous light to create this kind of like dramatic things. The things just like neutral light. There is no flash, just like the window, but like how you can get all the details and the colors for your photo. And there is more, to be honest, like with the full frame, I didn't share with you like all my pictures, but like even once I start to going, like for example, to use and explore the APS-C system or the crop sensor camera, it's like, it will give you like very good result similar to the full frame, even like 7.3 or 7R3. So this one, like I used like 6500. It's an APS-C crop sensor camera. And just I use the features that is a small camera shooting 11 frames per second. So I can get like all the moments. Like once I go for a high speed shoot with a studio light, let's say, even like for example here, same camera, you can just like get a lot of moments. So it will be very difficult and challenging for you to get it once you start to use like full frame, because somehow there is a limitation for the continuous shooting. So this is few of my photo, and just like the main questions, or it's like, of course, it's coming to our mind that does Sony have the camera experience? This is like, of course, like everyone just like ask, like inside your mind just, but yeah, Sony, they don't have camera experience. Because like the main things, the impression, Sony equal TV, right? Like once we say I want to drink soda, you have two things, Coca-Cola or Pepsi. If I want to get camera, I have like X or Y. If I want to get like whatever, there is like brands, it's coming in your mind all the time. But like once we say Sony, most of the time the people, they think that Sony, it's about TV or of course PlayStation. But like in reality, it's wrong. In reality, Konica Minolta, you know, of course, Konica Minolta, right? Konica Minolta, in 1922, we already have this brand. So we have like already system, Konica Minolta. Rocor, it's a very old lenses. We do a lot of things like engineering things with them. Even Leica, we do a lot of engineering development with them. So we have the experience of the cameras and photography. But like there is like specific time that we have the cameras, but like of course like it was like almost similar, not like it was like almost similar to the DSLR system, plus that we was like developing, we need to study more, we need to do like something different, something new once it's coming to the camera. So even like once you think about like the trends, there is like a trend, it's the selfie. Everyone now like take selfie, right? Like just like once you're going to the street or going to any place in the outdoor, in the mall or whatever, you'll find the people all the time, they taking selfie. But once you're coming to the selfie, of like for example, for Sony F55, it was like the first selfie camera that we introduced it in 1999. That it's like a small compact camera. This part, you can just like flip it. So if I want to take selfie, I will flip, and I can take pictures. If I want to take normal pictures, not selfie, I will flip the other side. So we already understand, and we know what is the future. What will happen next? We know. Like during 1999, there is no smartphone, but we know that this concept, it's already in our mindset. And this is a fact, that camera, it's a tool, and we are the artist. That's why each one here in this room choose the tool that it will improve what he's doing or what kind of photography. That's why like sometimes we ask like which camera I need to buy it, which camera I need to like to upgrade, which lens I need to buy it, because like you have like a visual inside your mind and you want to do it, and this is the only tool that it can give you do this pictures. And one more thing, that sometimes the gear limit us on what we can do, and this is true. Like let's say for example, you want to go to shoot sport, and then I give you like a camera with like 5 frames per second. You can? You cannot. You can, but like you didn't catch the moment or the right moment that you're looking for. You start like, for example, stay like for 2-3 hours, just like wait this moment and just like continue, repeat it for the 5 frames per second. So gears sometimes it's play a big role. Once you decide which tool I need to use it, it will be depend on your photography. And this is one of the things that why we have like different model. Because like sometimes you will ask me why there's like 7R3 and 7.3 and 7S and A9. Once you see all of this camera, it's almost same, like copy paste. It's almost the same. But the features, it's totally different because we understand that there is a different type of photographers. They're looking for a different feature. So like if you are like more on video, you can go on for this camera. If you are in sport, you can go on for this camera. If you are in studio, commercial, high image quality, and all those things, you can go on for this camera. So, and sometimes the technology make us more creative, so we should take advantage. This is for me, it's the main things that I take advantage for all the features that I have in the camera that I use. I study all the features inside the camera, and then I will know, like, if I will go to shoot X, I will use, let's say, this features. If I'm looking to use this features, how I can use it. So you should like take advantage of your camera, and you should understand everything's inside your camera before you're going to shoot anything. And only things that this is, it's like you can keep it as a note. Only when we understand the technology, we can take advantage of it. That's why I can use Sony camera, and I can give, for example, you a Sony camera, but maybe you know more than me in Sony because you understand the features for the camera. So you will find that it's very easy to use, but for me, I find it's very challenging to me to use it. But like, so because like you study it more, like you know how you can use this feature. So there is a relationship, it's the Sony technology and you. So the common belief and everything's, I think it's like a mindset. All of us, like we think, the bigger is always better. Once I use a big camera, that means that I will get a good pictures. Or once I use a big camera, that means that the people, they start looking to me, okay, I'm a pro. But it's wrong, because like I can take great photo with my phone, and I can give you like the best, most expensive camera in the world, and you cannot take even one pictures. So it's depend on how you can use it. But this is almost the mindset that most of the photographers or most of the users, they see it. Bigger is always better, but it's this mindset it changed already, because you can find that now it's become small, small, small. Even for Sony, it's a small system. Even for like, let's say once we see like, for example, the others brand like Canon and Nikon, they start to do a mirrorless system, small system, because they understand this is the future. That the users, they don't looking for a big size. Once we just like talk and communicate with the different groups and different community, the main things they will say to us, we're looking for a small system with a compact system. Because like size, it's make big difference once you start going to take pictures. But once we was like, or we know this mindset, there is like a lot of challenge with the big DSLR. With the big DSLR, as we can see it here, the system, it's big just like for the structures of the camera, because you know there is like a sensor, there is a mirror, there is a prism, there is a focus system. So you cannot design small DSLR system. That's why sometimes you can find like a lot of DSLR, very low megapixels, there is less features, but it's still big, because the structures, they cannot change the structures. But for us, we think with a different way. Let's remove the mirror. Let's keep everything inside the sensor. Let's remove the prism. Let's keep it digital or electronic. That's why we can that's why we can control the size of the camera, that I can create like full frame 42 megapixels, but in a very compact size. And it was like one of the main challenge, that we have like small system, but in the same time, you will then lose the quality that you're looking for. That it's a small, but like if you're looking for like a very high megapixels, you can get it. If you're looking for like a very high speed autofocus system, you still can get it in this small compact system. So one more thing, why Sony mirrorless? For why Sony mirrorless, just like I all the time just highlighted the three things. Oh, sorry. First, because we are different. We are different because like we want to think for something fresh to you. Like all the others camera, like once you see like the history or the jumping between like X model to Y, or the improve between like Mark 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, you will find that there is not big improve. It will be happen between like Mark 1 to Mark 2. They just like add like something like not very unique, just like 20 megapixel to make it 23 megapixels. All of us, we know that this 3 megapixel, it didn't make any big difference in your photo. From like 20 to, let's say, 80 point focus point, you will make it like 90 focus point. It will didn't make a big difference, this 10 focus point. So for us, just like we need to do like something fresh. And something else that we are not traditional. That's why we changed the system, that we design camera without mirror. We design camera without, like the camera can shoot like 20 frames per second without blackout. There is no camera can do this. We design camera that you can shoot silent without rolling shutter. That's why like an A9, it's the only camera in the full frame that you can use it without rolling shutter. You know the rolling shutter, that if I will going to shoot anything moving fast, it will be like same lines. There is no distortion will happen. That's why we do like something not traditional. And we are evolving. Just like all the time, we always just like develop our technology. We do a lot of study. We need to understand like how you will use the camera, so how we can improve our product. How we can just like, even with a small update, somehow we can change all the system of the camera. Not even to produce like new camera, just like firmware update. I can change the focus system. I can change the tracking system. Like it can be like, let's say A9, it's become like A9 Mark II, for example, like once you update the firmware, because we change everything's inside the system. And this is very important that in full frame system, Sony, we didn't build it just like overnight. We do like a lot of cameras during like in the last years, like from 2013 till 2018, we almost doing like 9 cameras. Like A7R Mark I, it was like in 2013, and this it was like the full frame, the first full frame mirrorless camera. There is no full frame mirrorless system during this time. First system as a mirrorless, it was NEX5. Anyone know this camera? NEX5, it was like 2011, something like this, 2010, 2011. This was like the first mirrorless camera in the world. But as a full frame, it was 7R and A7. And then we improve our product, like make 7R2 and A7 Mark II and A7S, that during this time that it will make like big change in the market for low light photographers or astrophotographers or videographers, because that's why it's S. You know what's the meaning of S? Sensitivity. You know what the meaning of R? Resolution, exactly. So that's why 7R, it's purely for like resolutions for any user who looking for like high image quality. 7S, it's purely for videographer or any kind of photography that you are in low light condition. And then 2017, for example, we launched the A9, and for us A9 it was like a game changers, because it was like the first camera during this time as a full frame with the technology for the sensor. It called stacked sensor, that it's 2 sensor in 1 sensor, that it's capture all the details and save it and just like send it to the processor very fast. That's why it was the first camera that can shoot 20 frames per second. That's why you can find it that you can shoot like, let's say, 20 frames per second with the calculation of the distance, the AF and AF and AE, 60 times in 1 second. So imagine like for a sport photographer, if you're going for like 20 frames per second and the distance change, the camera can understand how the light change, so it will change the light and distance 60 times per 1 second. That's why sometimes once we do like a lot of tests, you will find that in A9, you will take like thousands of photos. There is no single one picture is out of focus. So you will get confused which one I will use, because all of them, they are good. So sometimes it will give you even become like very challenging for you to choose which pictures, because everything's in focus. Even like with the eye autofocus, anyone know the eye autofocus? Exactly. So eye autofocus, It's like one of the very unique features, and later I will do a demo with this feature, that for portrait photographers, all the time they're looking for the eyes, right? Once we take pictures, we change the focus point, keep it here, and just like take the photo. But in Sony, the camera, it's very smart that can understand the human face structures. Once the camera see any human eyes, it's automatically attack. It's track the eyes, just with one button. So even now, like with animals, like for wildlife, the camera start to understand the animal face structures. Once see any animal, you will find the focus point, it's going to the animal and start to track. Like even if you start to move, the camera will start to move with you. The points will start to move. So it's a very unique feature. And you can see that now even with the others camera, they start to add this eye autofocus, but it's about like how it can work with the camera, and how the lens can support with this, and how the processor in the camera can support with this feature. And even like one other unique things in Sony camera that we already launched it in 2014, the steady shot, the 5x. So any camera in the world, there is a steady shot in the camera, right? It works in the lens as a 2x, X and Y. But in Sony, we have it as a 5x inside the sensor. So it will work as a X, Y, roll, patch, and U. So you know Ronin S? There is a baby Ronin S inside the camera. So that's why I don't need tripod. That's why I can go for like slow shutter speed handheld. Like challenging, like let's say 60 shutter speed, let's say it will be the safe shutter speed handheld. I can go like 5 stop down. Like I can go like 1/15 handheld with 7200. That didn't make any sense as a calculation, but it will work. And I will show it to you like how it will work with you. So for landscape, it will be like great. I don't need to bring like a lot of gears with me. I can, whatever the gear I will take it, I will transform it to lenses. So I can get more pictures, let's say. And let's now talk about like mirrorless system technology. And if anyone just like, there is any question, just like you can stop me, because I can just like talk too much. So please stop me and just like, you can ask me anything. So the consumer want big, but Sony, we design like small camera. Small camera because it will give you like a different opportunity to shoot. In most of the locations, big system, it didn't help. So you need small. And even for lenses, it will be like one of the main things that most of the users, they think about it, that Sony, they don't have like a lot of lenses. But no, in reality, we have like from 12 millimeter till 400 millimeter. With adapters, it will be like 800 millimeter. So all the full range, it's available, like prime or zoom lenses, it will be available. And even with the 5X, or even with the Sony system as an E-mount, because it's an E-mount system, so I can use all the E-mount lenses, of course. I can use all the old lenses as an A-mount, or I can use, let's say, for example, my Canon lens. So it's a flexible system. I don't need to rethink that, okay, I invest like thousands of dollars to get all my lenses. I will throw it? Of course, no. Use it with Sony system. Because it will be easy for you to use it just with the adapter. Because all the technology, it's here. It's not here. So everything, you can get it inside the camera, you can get it from the sensor. Not from the lens, of course, you can get a lot of things from the lens, like the quality and everything. But like the focus system, focus speed, everything, you will find it inside the sensor. So this is one of the unique, and it's a very flexible system to use with anything. It's accept everything. And this is the questions that, do we need like a full frame? The questions, it will be like, it will be depend, like what you are shoot. If you really need a full frame, you can get a full frame. If you really need like an APS-C, you can go in for APS-C. That's why there is a lot of pro, for example. I'm sure that they use like main camera as a full frame, as a second camera APS-C or crop sensor camera. It will be depend what they want to do. So like, let's say, for example, full frame, of course, it will give you like let's say this is the scene. So full frame, you can just like cover all the scene. Like let's say if I'm using 50 millimeter with a full frame, it will give me you a 50 millimeter. But in an APS-C, everything it will be cropped. Everything it will be cropped. So it will be different. Like it's depend how you will use it. And even the full frame, of course, it will give you like more image quality, the dynamic range, it's higher, it will be higher because you have like big sensors. So it can just like save and save all the details for your pictures. And even one more things for the ISO. Like let's say this pictures, as I remember, it was, I think, in Ras Al Khaimah, as I remember. I don't remember the name of the location. But all this, there is no light. It's the moonlight. And the ISO, it was like 102,000 ISO. 102,000 ISO, I am sure that with any other camera, you will get like a lot of noise and grains. You didn't see like all the details, for example, this area, or here, or this area, or this area. It will be very noisy. But like with 102,000, I find that it's very clear, without like, even I didn't do like a lot of editing for this because I already see everything. So I see all the details for the camera. And even better bokeh. You know the bokeh, right? Like the defocus area, the background once you use like 1.4 or 2.8. So even like full frame, let's say, with a high resolution and like good lens, it will give you this beautiful bokeh that it's not sharp, it's not crispy, it's very creamy, that you didn't see like a lot of contrast, like let's say between the colors. Everything it will find it's very smooth once it's coming to the good lens with a good full frame sensor. That's why we have like main three camera that I will highlight it, A7R3, A9, and A7S. R resolution, that's why it's a 42 megapixel. A9, it's speed 20 frames per second, so it's purely for a sport photojournalist. A7S, sensitivity. It's 12 megapixel camera, that's why it's performed very good in low light. Like the steady shot in the camera, you can use it, or you can use this feature just like to create like a lot of creative things in your photo. So like let's say this two photo, which one you prefer? Of this or this? This one, because everything's sharp and just like the train, there is like a motion effect. It's happened, exactly. But this one, it's not sharp. Like it's not good picture. That this one you will delete it like once you copy it to your computer. So let's say here, how you can do these pictures? You need tripod, right? I need tripod, slow shutter speed, and just like wait until the moment coming. So it will give you this effect. But with the steady shot, I can use it as a handheld. So I can use this features handheld, slow shutter speed with the 5x. It will give you this like sharp area. There is no movement will happen because the 5x will start to understand. My hand, it will move up, the sensor go down. It's going down, the sensor go up. So all the time the sensor going in the opposite way. That's why if you will hold like a Sony camera and just like you start to move it, you will hear that there is like something, it's moved inside. This is the sensor. That's why in most of the lenses, there is no steady shot because already it's inside in the camera. And that's why you can like create this, use these features as an advantage. That's why I say it like in the beginning. Understand your camera and take advantage of it. So you can create like something new. And other things, like this is even like from the things that we challenge, like we get it as a challenge once we use like a camera, that if I want to create this kind of effect, I should going for like 2.8 lens or 1.4, like any kind of like wide aperture lens, so it can get more light, so I can use like high shutter speed to reduce this camera movement, or use the high ISO, or I will get tripod. But for me, these features, it will make me just like use whatever the lens that I want to use it, because I already have the support that the camera give it to me as a 5x. So it's a very unique features in Sony camera that I find it's make your life easier once you start to use the system. Because like I don't need just like even to hold my breath and just like I want to take pictures without move. No, I can just like take pictures just like free with one hand, even with a big lens like 70-200 or 100-400 that almost it will be like big heavy lenses, but it will be easy for me just like to focus on what I want to shoot, not to focus more on the features and how I will do the settings to give me the best result. No, I can use this. So it's a circle. Everything, it's link. And even for the eye autofocus, so for the eye autofocus, everyone, once you start to use the camera, first things that you will ask yourself or you will ask someone just like about the camera, how the focus works. It's a good focus or not good focus, and how many focus points. All of us, this is the main question, like how many focus points and how the focus will work. In mirrorless system in general, you will find that the focus point all the time, it's much higher than the DSLR. Like DSLR, it's work with distance. That's why it's a phase detections. So it will work between the sensor and the distance, let's say, between me and the wall. So that's why you find this small number of focus points, and all the focus point, it will be in the center. That's why if you look in the viewfinder, you will find all the focus points in the center. You cannot reach to the edge, like right, left, up, down. There is zero focus point. But the mirrorless system, it's a hybrid focus system. So it will work with a phase detection as a distance and contrast detections as a color. So the camera can understand distance and color in the same time. That's why you can find, like, in the mirrorless system, focus point is like 300 focus point, 600 focus point. Like, let's say A9, 639 focus point. That it's covered like almost 85 or 90% of your sensor, like from edge to edge. So that's why once we take like pictures and just you will find like your object, it's here, you find that the focus points reach to this area. So it will be easy to cover everything. So this is the main difference between both systems in the focus. That's why it's fast focus. Even once coming to tracking, it's very fast. That's why like you will find like a lot of unique features in the camera that I can save. Like, let's say if I'm shooting event, I can register, let's say, one specific face that it's like the main person inside this event that I want to take pictures. I can save his portrait, his photo inside the camera. Once the camera automatically see this face, the camera will start to track. Even if you will go for a group shot, the camera will track this person especially. So you can add like 8 different faces, and you can make the camera understand the priority. I want face number 1, priority number 1. I want face number 2, priority number 2. I want face number 8, priority number 8. I can change 8 to 1, 1 to 4. So you can play with the camera. And even for tracking system, like for example, if you will shooting like bird, any things like you need to track, I can just like register the object that I will track. Even once it's going out of the frame and return again, the camera will remember, start to track. So it's a very smart system. So that's why it will make you improve. It will make you just like focus more on how I can create photo, not how I can get the right settings. But first, understand the settings. That's why there is a lot of questions, like even with the Sony users, I'm sure that they have a lot of questions. Why the focus system it's not work properly, for example, or how I can get this. Because there is a lot of features inside the camera, but it's about like how you will use it. This is the main things. And so like, even like, let's say for example, like for all Sony user here, what is the main things or the challenge that you get with your Sony camera? I want to take break to talk, so that's why I'm asking.
I have a hard time
Yeah.
focusing on my subject if it's a lot of things. That is, to pinpoint their subject is very hard. It can be difficult. Because I like to shoot birds.
Okay.
Trying to shoot a bird through a tree, I have a very hard time focusing on that bird.
Okay. My second questions. What's the focus? Which focus system? Which camera you use first?
A9.
A9. Which focus? Like, what's your settings?
I use the center.
Center, focus point, and the focus mode.
Team software.
Okay, and center. So your challenge, like let's say once the bird fly, the camera cannot track.
No, just trying to focus on the bird
Mm.
through the tree or something like that. That is my issue.
Okay, so, okay, I will show you like as an example how we can use it. But like let's say for his questions, like his settings, it's right. Because you know that, okay, in the focus system in Sony, there is 3 things. There is the focus mode that we need to do it like as a continuous autofocus or single autofocus, manual autofocus, or something called DMF, direct manual focus. So it's auto, but I can recorrect it manually. So he used continuous because it's a bird, so it should be continuous. And thus he used the focus area as a center. So like center all the time, the focus point, it will be in the center. It's one point in the center. So for me, I would recommend to use flexible spot locked on. So there is a feature that you can use all the focus point, it's called wide, and zone that I can control which area inside this sensor I need to keep it active, and center, that it's a center, like just center, you cannot move it, and flexible spot with size, like I want like flexible spot to move one point, but I need to keep it like small, medium, large, or locked on. Locked on mean with a locked on flexible spot that let's say I will select the point to the bird. Once I press half press, the camera will start to lock, so it will move. If you will get challenged with the foreground, like the tree, you can go for the same things, DMF. So you can recorrect it manually. In bird, it's challenging, to be honest, but there is even other features inside the camera, especially for A9. It's called center on autofocus. Okay, center on autofocus. This is purely you will make the camera ignore anything in the foreground and the background. So this one, I will show it to you after the break, because I plan like after the break to connect the camera so you can see that it will be like a mirror from the camera, and we can see like all these features, how it will work. But like for example, this feature or this settings, you can use it and just like select the bird. So the camera all the time will track this bird, because it will give you like a message. Keep your object in the center and press OK. So the camera will capture this area and save it. So this is one of the features. I will show it to you. But in bird, anyway, it's a very challenging once it's coming to the focus system, but it's depend which settings you will use. There is any other questions for Sonia? Okay. اوكي بصوا هي زي كاتيجوري. كل الالفا 7 للفول فريم، الستة ال 6500 400 300 يعني كل السيريز دي اي بي اس سي كروب سنسور. الاي 9 هي عشان سبيشال لوحدها فعملناها كاتيجوري لوحدها الفا 9. فهو ده، لكن ما فيش يعني ريزن ورا الرقم، يعني ما فيش معنى ورا الرقم. هي فول فريم، بس هي اعلاهم بحيث هي اسرع واحده فيهم، والسنسورز هو اللي مختلف، عشان كده هي اقوى سنسور فيهم بس كسبيد مش كريزولوشن ال 7 ار 3. اتفضل. 90 ماكرو. انت بتستخدم اني كاميرا؟ اوكي. مش شرط، لو هي الفكره كلها just his questions. Okay, like his question that he using 6300, it's an APS-C camera, and he using 90 macro as a full frame camera. So there is like kind of like slow, or the focus system, it's very slow. So الفوكس سيستم هو ملوش علاقه لو هي فول فريم، لو العدسه فول فريم والسنسور كروب او كروب سنسور. اللي هيحصل ان ال 90 هتبقى almost 115. يعني الفوكال لينث بتاعها هيتغير، هتبقى بتزوم اكتر، اللي هي هتبقى لو هو ده اللينس هي بتقرا الجزء اللي في النص بس عشان السنسور اصغر، فالفوكال لينث انت بتخليها بس الماكرو لينس عامه البرفورمانس بتاع الفوكس بيبقى ابطا من العدسه العاديه عشان الاليمنتس اكتر وانت بتقرب اكتر، فبتقعد تكونفيرم الفوكس كذا مره. ده الفرق الوحيد. هتلاقي كل عدسات الماكرو ابطا من العدسات اللي هي العاديه مش الماكرو. بس الاختلاف الوحيد اللي هيبقى عندك هو الفوكال لينث. ال90 هتبقى اولموست 115 اولموست 120. ده الفرق الوحيد. زي العكس لو استخدمت كروب سنسور، عدسه كروب سنسور مع فول فريم كاميرا بتديك زياده 75. So like the things that I saying, just like for example, the only things that it will affect if you will use like a full frame lens with the APS-C camera, the focal length. So the focal length 90 as a 90 full frame lens, it will become with the APS-C camera almost like 115. So this is the main things. But the second part of his question, that focus speed, it's become like less, because like, okay, 90 macro, or let's say any macro lens, the focus speed or the speed of the focus or how the elements of the lens it will work, it's all the time, it's becomes slower than the normal lens because it will work in a different way because the distance, it will be different. That's why this is the main things, that you will get slow focus just because it's a macro. It's need to reconfirm everything before it's get sharp. But the only effect that you will get it once you use two different things like APS-C to full frame, the focal length. Quality, it will be like the same because it's like it's still the sensor, but the only things it will change the center of the lens. That's why, to be honest, like sometime, like I find it like once I use, let's say, full frame lens with the APS-C camera, that sometime I get like most of my pictures, sometimes it's become more sharper because the most sharp area in the lens, it's the center. And it's APS-C, so it's read the center. So it will give you like even more sharper image. This is one of the things. But the only change, the focal length. So yeah. Any other questions or challenge? I used the A7 III. Welcome. Okay. Mm.
The lighting was okay, and what I see in the screen was perfect, but when I transferred the file,
It's something different.
yeah,
As an exposure.
yeah,
Okay.
it was very high.
Okay. In Sony camera, this is a very good question, by the way. Because, okay, in Sony, in mirrorless system, we have, okay, there is no mirror, right? So the light, it's going through the lens, and it's all the time exposed to the sensor, right? So that's why once I start looking in the electronic viewfinder, I can see everything's inside the electronic viewfinder. It's like a mirror from my screen. But there is two things in Sony camera. In the menu or in the settings, you can control your live view display settings. You want to keep it on or off. What's mean this settings mean? If I will keep my settings for the live view on, any things I will change it inside the camera, I can see it on spot. Let's talk about like elements of photography. Shutter speed, aperture, ISO. If I change one of these three elements, I can see it on spot. I can see that it's overexposed, underexposed, whatever. Even grains, I can see it. If it's reached the grain levels, I can see it. So this, you will see it in case you keep your live view display settings on. So I'm sure it will be off in your camera. Because once you do it off, I do it off in two situations. If I'm using studio light or I am in a studio environment, why? Because like, okay, let's say if I will use my modeling light, I use my modeling light as a guide, just to see how the light shape and everything's in the object. But I know that the final result, it will be something different as a light, as a power. So I keep it off just to create the composition. Like as a DSLR. Like in DSLR, you know, there is a test shot. Every time we take one photo and then we will see it. Oh yeah, it's overexposed. Let's change X or Y. But in Sony, I can see it. Like let's say here, if I will going, like for example, because here I keep it off. So now I keep the setting on. So now it's black, right? If I will take one picture, it's black. If I change the settings, like let's say here, and then I take this picture, it's same exposure that I see. So I don't need to do a test shot. This is the live view settings. It's on. Okay, other things. Okay, there is any, what it's called, the bracketing. Because I'm sure that there is something in the settings, you keep it on that it changes your exposure. Because, okay, this is one of the things, the live view display settings. Sometimes the bracketing, you can keep it like on or like 5 shots in one shot, so it will merge 3 different shots and give you like a different exposure as a final result. Yeah, this is the only 2 things. Because there is no other elements or no other feature in the camera, it can give you like an overexposure. You talk about pictures or video? Okay, okay, one more thing. You using picture profile? Like logs? No. Because like there is white balance, it didn't change your exposure. But maybe other things that sometime even if you will going to, let's say, change the brightness for the screen, sometime it will give you like a different, you as a reference, you will feel it that it's like underexposure, overexposure, but it's a right exposure. So that's why I can recheck the settings for you. Because like even once it's coming to the video, there is no way to turn off the live view settings off. It should be on all the time. It will be the active in the camera. So of course there is like something I can recheck with you, this one later. Any other questions related to Sony once you use it? No? Okay. So yeah. Next will be, I was like talking about the focus system and the eye autofocus. And for the eye autofocus, like let's say for this pictures, like here you will find that the eye, it's very sharp, even he wearing like an eyeglass. So it will be like kind of like difficult to focus on the eye, but the camera even can understand this. Like once I press, you will find that the camera track the eye, ignore the eyeglass. Even once I'm look down or I'm right or under exposure 3 stop, still the camera can read and going through the eye. And even you can see here, like this part, it's come out of focus. This part come out of focus because only here it's sharp. And this is one of the challenges, to be honest, that we get it once you start to use the, what I call the focus point, to change the focus point. We keep it here. Once I zoom, later I will find the focus here, or here, or here. Because like the camera cannot track. Because all the time I will move, or the subject will start to move. So the camera cannot track. But here the camera can track. If I will move or the object move, the camera will track. And even, I say it like no subject it's able to escape. Because like the focus point and the tracking system. It's like example, like here. This is how the focus point, it will look in your viewfinder. So it's like all the sensors, it's full of point, a lot of focus point everywhere, that it's almost covered like 90% of your sensor. That's why if I have something here, I can shoot it. If I have something here, I can shoot it. It will be very easy for you to use and track the camera. So, yeah. Okay. It's like the stacking, you mean? Okay. If you will use wide, like as a autofocus, the camera all the time will going to the near object. Even if you will going for the eye autofocus, the camera will going for the near object. But if, let's say, there is one person here and one person there, but this one, it's in the background, in this time, I can use zone. So I can shift all the focus point in this area. Yes, yes, yeah. Or if you registered one of this face, the camera will automatically going to this, like the other person. Even for the eye autofocus, it will work the same. Before, the camera will read the nearest eye. Like let's say if I am setting, like the camera will read this eye. So now with the new firmware update, I can choose which eye I want to use, the right or the left, or auto. So if I keep it auto, it will be the nearest. If I do it right, the camera will go all the time to the right eyes, left to the left eye. So even the camera starts to understand which one it's the right, which one it's the left. So all these things we already improved and updated. Yeah. So I think we can take break, and after the break we will going for the demo. So I will start to do a lot of demo and show you like how these features work, because like it's easy to talk, but like in the end you should see it, how it will work. So let's go for a break, and later we'll do the demo. Yeah. So thank you. Oh. Okay, so what next? This part, I will start to I connect the camera to the projector, so we can just like access the camera as you use it. Like you can see the menu, you can see the focus point, you can see everything in the screen. So I can just like show you like what is the main features or the settings that we can use it. Like even like for example like your questions, like how we can use the focus system. Because like even during the break, just like someone just like asking me, the focus system, there is like a lot of pages in the focus system, like something like 3-4 pages of focus system, and there is like a sub page inside one page. So there is a lot of settings, but in the end, how many settings you will use it in this 4-page, like more than like 20-30 features? It will be like specific things that you can use it depend on your focus system that you're looking for. So here, I will just like show you like the main things that you can get it with Sony camera once it's coming to the settings. We can talk in photo part, and we can talk even in video part. Which settings you can use it in video, which settings you can use it in photo. Okay, so first, because it's a mirrorless system, that as I say, that once you change anything in your settings, you can see it on spot. And for me, this is like one of the main things that I really like it in this system. It's not about Sony system. I'm talking about like the mirrorless system. Why I can see it on spot? Because there is no mirror. Because you know the mirror, the light it's going through the lens reflect to the prism, and then you will take the photo once the mirror it's going up. So you can see the final exposure. But here, because there is no mirror, I can see my final exposure before I take the pictures. Like let's say here, for example. Now like my settings, let's say 100 shutter speed, 4.5, and ISO 6400, let's say. So what I will do, just like here, I will do 2.8. I will do my ISO, let's say 5000. I do my shutter speed 1/50. And let's say here, and let's say, let me change the settings, keep it here, single shot. And let's say here, once I see the final result, it's the same that I was seeing in the live view. So I don't need to go for a test shot. This is one of the main things. Even like once I go to the white balance, it's not about even the camera settings. Like let's say here, white balance. Once I change the white balance, I can see the final things on spot. So I can even see my colors. Even like let's say in O2, I can just like I want to control my light inside the white balance. I still can control it. So that's why I think that it's a very flexible system. Even once it's coming to the O2, you have the power like to control the settings. Like auto white balance, I cannot control anything, but still I can control which part or which color I want to add it more. Let's say here I want to add like, for example, more blue. I want to add like more red. You can see it on spot. So this is one of the good things that it will save time during the shooting process because I don't need to think many times which settings I will use. Yeah. So this is, for example, the first things that live view that we can see everything's on spot. Once it's coming to the focus, because the focus will be like the main things that all of us, we have like a lot of questions. And once we use the camera, this is the main things that we change it all the time. So for us, this is the main two feature or settings that we change it in the focus. The focus mode and the focus area. Focus mode mean like continuous autofocus. That's mean like, for example, let's say if I will go in here, now like here it's in focus. Once I start to move, it's still in focus. So it's tracking all the time. Once I start to move the camera, all the time it's track, track, track. That's why it's a hybrid autofocus. Everything it's work, distance and colors. So this is the things. Let's say, for example, single autofocus for any static shots. like product, let's say. The camera, it's on a tripod, and the product, anyway, it will not run away. So your camera will just like take the focus one time. If I need to change it, like let's say here, it's in focus, but if I will go near, the tracking not work. I need to press again to refocus. So it will be depend, like single autofocus, you will use it like for a specific kind of photography, let's say. And autofocus A, automatic, this is like auto. The camera, the camera will understand the situation. If the camera finds that your hand will move or the object will start to move, it automatically become autofocus continuous. If everything is static, the camera will keep it autofocus single. So it will be easy. It's depend on in your situation, the camera will decide which feature it will going for. Okay. Focus area, once I keep it wide, like it's similar to, like, for example, your questions. Focus wide, like for example, let's say here. Okay. Once I, like now all the 399 focus point it's active, so I don't have any control. But once I press, the camera choose you because you are the nearest face. But you can see something. Even in the room, it's not very bright. It's still dark. But it's track automatically your eye. So like here, if I will move, the camera will start all the time tracking your eye, tracking your eye, tracking your eye. So let's say in case that, okay, I don't want, I want the focus in the back. I can go into the function and focus area. The focus area, that's why it's important for you to know which settings. Focus area, it's white. Zone, I can control. You can see this square, right? I can just like control it. I want here. So the camera in this time will start to focus on this area. Just this area and ignoring this part and the down part, like this. So, or I can use center. But in center, it will going near to the center, the object near to the center. That's why, like for example, with the bird situation, I didn't go to the center. Because center, somehow it will limit the tracking system. I will going for flexible spots that I can control which area I need to track, and then select it, and then the camera will track. Like for example here, like this one, locked on autofocus. So I will select this one, and let's say here, I will select the camera. So you will find that here, now it's automatically tracking this side. So imagine like if the bird, you will find this big green square track and following the bird. So this is the settings that you can use it during the shooting. Mainly focus area and the focus mode. Because like once we going for the full focus menu, you will find it that it's very big. But like how many features we can use? Like here, you can find first page for the autofocus. It's the same, focus mode. I can access it from function. So it's a shortcut. This button is for me, like I use it for all my settings. And then all these features, to be honest, didn't use it during the shootings. Like here, the priority setting for autofocus. You want to keep it balanced or not balanced. Like once I press the half press, it will be balanced, just like once you press, it will be in focus, or until it's wait to confirm that your object it's in focus. So that's why I keep it balanced. And it's a standard. All these things, it's a standard. Let's say for this features, and it's a very unique even features, switch between vertical and horizontal. So like let's say I am product photographer all the time. I have like one landscape shot, one portrait shot for the same product. So what we will do, we change the focus point all the time once it comes to the portrait and come to the landscape. So here what we can do, just like I will press here, so the focus, so I will change it to normal, to the unlocked. So like now the focus point here, right? Once I go to this side, I will keep the focus point here, okay? So like once I do it like this, the focus point going again to the same area. Once I go in like this, it will go in the top. So it can save the focus point just like once I do like this, I don't need to change. So because in a studio situation, once you use this feature, you will use tripod. So what you will use, like you change the direction. The ball head you will unlock, keep the camera like this. So you will find all the frame, it will be the same, but the focus point will go into this area. Even I can control more, not about the focus point. I can create a shortcut. Like I want, once I shoot in a portrait mode, in landscape mode, I keep it like wide as an auto focus point. And once I go like this, I want to use it as center. So I change the focus point and the focus area. So once I go like this, it will become wide, auto. Once I go like this, it will become zone. So you have the flexibility even to change the focus system once you change the position of the camera. So this is a unique features. And you can use it for different things, even for a portrait, to be honest. I can use, but for a portrait, it will be easy for me with the eye autofocus. This is my guide, eye, all the time. And yeah, one more thing for the eye autofocus. Eye autofocus here, I can choose. I want the eye autofocus as a features. It will work for human or for animal. So this is it is a new features we added like almost 2-3 weeks back, and it's just with a firmware update you can get this feature. So like let's say if I am a wildlife photographer, it will be very easy for me to track the animal through the eye, because like even the good things with the Sony, once I compare like this system with the other system that they have eye autofocus, that it's a very accurate and there is no limitation, to be honest. Like most of the others mirrorless camera, you should be near, very near to the object so that the camera can read the eye. Like let's say, like you can, once you have like kind of like mid shot, the camera will start to read your eye. If you're going far, it will not read anything. But with Sony, like let's say, even if I'm going like for 20, like it's a wide angle shot, like let's say, and just like I'm going for here, it still can read, like understand, like this is face, and like let's say, and there is an eye. So from even this distance, the camera can get and understand, like here. So there is no limitation. Like I didn't say that if you want to get these features, you should be like in an X distance between you and the model, let's say. No, I can be in the end of the room using 70-200 or even 24-70, and the camera still can get the eye. And you can find it that it's very easy because I press half press. That's it. And it's like one of the shooting process. I will press a half press to take my photo. So the eye autofocus will work. Before, I should assign it to the other things. Like let's say, for example, I can assign it here as a custom buttons, or I can assign it to whatever, any custom button inside the camera. So this is one of the other unique features. And let's say for the customization, like let's say the customizations in the camera, because okay, like let's say you are shooting outdoor and in the same time you are an indoor photographer. So like your settings outdoor, it will be totally different than the settings indoor. But what will happen, that all the time you need to change all your settings once you go into indoor to outdoor. So it's kind of like wasting time. And you maybe you will forget one of the settings. That's why you will say that, oops, okay, there is error in my shoot or something, it will not work. But here, what we can do, that we can go into the custom key. The customization, that in Sony camera, we have like 9 custom buttons. So mainly, you can see 4, like C1, C2, C3, and C4. Okay? But in general, I can customize every single button inside the camera for any features that I want to use. That's why it's a shortcut for everything. So like let's say here, custom button number 1, I will do it like let's say for white balance. Let's say here I can enter 23 page, choose whatever I want and assign it. So let's say no, I will keep it for anti-flicker. So you know the flickers with the light? I can just like the camera can understand there is a flicker, we'll remove it. There is no other camera can do this. Because flickers, it's impossible to fix it in edit. The camera can give you like a mark. There is a flicker. Once you take the photo, it will remove the flicker. So imagine like for a photojournalist, most of the time they are indoor and they have like kind of mixed light that it creates a lot of frequency. Now it's very easy for them to shoot because like there is no flicker plus the silent. So it's like it's the full mix. It's like a combo mix for them. Let's say here I can add like for example I want this for the focus mode. I want this for eye autofocus. Everything's you can change it. And yeah. And even like others buttons that this dial I can change. Like once I press the right, left, up, down, I can change it. Like for example, for me, I use like once I press down, I keep the live view display settings off. I use it once I use studio light because like I don't trust because my final result, it will be different than the light that I see it because it's a flash. So I keep it off. So once I change my settings, like here, nothing will change. It's become like a DSLR. Like nothing will change because my final result, it will be different. One of the other things, like let's say C4, I keep it for wireless flash. I want to keep it on and off. So it's a shortcut for me. I don't need to go into the menu and just like, yeah, wireless flash. I remember it was here. So it takes time. So I can just like one press, on, off, like this. C3, let's say, center on autofocus. This one I use it like if I want to do like proper tracking. So like for example, I keep it on. This is the one that I told you about it. Like it will give you a message, track nearest subject screen. And then like let's say here, I want to track you. So I will press center. Now you are track. And even I didn't press now anything. Once I start to move, it's tracking you. If I start to go, tracking you. If you're going out of the frame and then enter the frame, the camera will still tracking you. So this is the main things that you can use it with the bird. How you can get this one, menu, and going to the focus system. And then, oh, sorry, I didn't see. Menu, here, center on autofocus, keep it on. But for me, I do it as I go for the custom buttons, like here, and then I use C3. I assign it to this one. So once I press here, I can get it on and off. So it's a shortcut. You can do it. So yeah. Let's say one of the other things that all the time we can change it, and it's kind of like sometime we can use it and sometime we do it in edit. It's a full frame camera, right? But in Sony system, I can transform my system from full frame to APS-C. So let's say if I use 400 millimeter lens, but I'm in a situation I cannot even go more near to the object. So I can use like APS-C. So the 400, it will become 550. So you get like extra 150 millimeter just with one click. And it's a 42 megapixels, so I don't care like how many pixels I will use it. Nothing. It's still like once like it will the camera, it will be like 21 megapixel. But it's still like if you will use like a high-end full frame sport camera, it's still between 20 to 25 megapixels because this is the megapixel that you needed for this kind of shooting. And this for me, it was like one of the like unique feature for this. And even, let's say for your example, like once you use like 90 macro with the full frame lens with the APS-C camera, here it will be like the opposite. Let's say if I will use APS-C lens with the full frame camera, the camera will understand that this is the APS-C lens, so it will react as an APS-C sensor. So you will didn't see this circle next to your photo because it will work as an APS-C automatically. Exactly. You will didn't find it because it's automatically will make the calculation that yeah, it's an APS-C lens, so I will react as an APS-C sensor. So it's without even change anything. And yeah, one more things, the steady shot. The steady shot, let's say here, in this lens, like now I'm using like 2470 G master. There is no steady shot inside this lens. But I don't need to get like a lens with a steady shot because I still can control it from the camera because everything is in the sensor. So I keep it on, and then I can, let's say, control the steady shot adjustment. If I will do it auto, the camera will understand that this is my focal length, 24 to 70, so that the gimbal reacts with this focal length. But like, let's say, as I say in the beginning of the session, that it's a very flexible system. So let's say if I'm use 8 millimeter lens, manual old lens for a film camera with an adapter, and you still, there is a lot of people, they use it for movie, for film, video shooting, they get like all the manual lenses. So how the steady shot will react? It's a very manual lens, like there is zero electronic, it's happened inside the lens. I can do it manual, I can choose and control how I want to make the steady shot react. So I have here all the focal length. So I choose, yeah, I'm choosing like, let's say I will use like 10 millimeter lens. So the steady shot and the sensor will work just for this 10 millimeter lens. That's why like if I will use it now, somehow I will struggle in a specific, if I will use it manual, sometimes you find it's jumping because it will understand this is the wrong focal length. So why you want me to use as a 10 millimeter? There is no 10 millimeter in this lens. So I will keep it auto, of course. And let's say for like, yeah, so let's say for example here. So I will use like, for example, like 60 shutter speed. And I will keep my steady shot like on. And then I will take like one photo and just I will see it. Okay, like let's say here, yeah, Sony logo, it's sharp, okay? So I will take advantage of this steady shot. I will take like 5 steps down. So like one, like here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 1/20. And even I didn't look because here I connected, so it's black for me. I cannot see anything. And then I will take same photo. And then, okay, it's still sharp. Okay, so let's say, let's challenge. Like for me, I like to challenge the camera. I will keep it like 1/8. But let me, I want to turn on my live view so I can see the settings. But I will keep my ISO less, let's say 1000. And then it's still short, like 1/8 handheld, and I'm looking like this. So it will be like kind of impossible with the DSLR. Even I can go less because I tried, to be honest, like for me, maximum things I tried, it was 1/4. After that, I didn't breathe, like to take one picture. So like let's say here 1/4. And it's, of course, it's moved, but imagine 1/4 with without 5x, it will be not like this. It will be like this. Like it will be like something like this. But let's say if I will turn off the steady shot and I will keep it like 1/20 again and take the same picture, but just I will increase the ISO. If we compare the 1/20 here and the 1/20 there, you will find that here it's not sharp at all. But like 1/20, it was here 1/8 even, that it's still more sharper than 1/20, and the steady shot it's off. So imagine that what you can create with these features in terms of shooting once it's on. So you can create like a lot of things that it's like in a very creative way that I can use this or take it as advantage. And yeah. And even like, for example, the silent shooting. Silent shooting for me.
Do you prefer the steady shot in the lens or the body?
Sorry?
Do you prefer the steady shot in the lens or the body?
Okay. Okay, let's say, for example, I'm using 7200, like here. There is a steady shot in the lens. And there is, okay, any lens, once you have steady shot, they have 2 axes. And in the camera, there is a 5 axis. So how it will work, like once the steady shot it's on inside in the lens, the X and Y, it will work in the lens. So like X and Y, it will work inside the lens. Roll, patch, and U, it will work inside the camera. So it will, like it split the mission. 2 axes in the lens, 3 axes in the camera. If I will turn it off, all the 5 axes, it will be off. That's why there is a lot of users, they think that once I turn the steady shot off from the lens, that means that I turn off the steady shot inside the lens, but it's still active in the camera. No. So all the steady shot will be off. So you can control it from the lens. Here I can control it from the menu because there is no steady shot. But it will be depend. Like if you will have like 7200 or not 7, like any lens with a steady shot, it will split the mission. 2 in the lens, 3 in the camera. Because even like there is other, they think that it will be like a 7x, 2 in the lens and still 5. So it will not work as a 2 axes in the same time, like the sensor and the lens. It's not going in the same direction, same time.
So you have to turn both off?
Okay, so like let's say, okay, let me change this to this. So let's say here, like 7200. Okay. So here in this lens now I keep the steady shot on. Okay. Once I go into the menu, you will find this one. Once I was using 2470, it was active. Now it's deactive. Invalid with this lens. Why? Because I can control it from here. Off. So the steady shot will be off. On. So all the steady shot system will be from here. So you can. This is the on and off button for you. With lens without steady shot, it will be the lens. Sorry, it will be the camera. Exactly. So even here, that's why even here I cannot control it. But in the end, it will be like 2 in the lens, 3 in the camera. Let's say in the situation that let's say I'm using like not Sony lenses, 5x directly in the camera. If there is like lenses with a steady shot, you will find that it will create the same split. 2 in the lens, 3 in the camera. So it will be even if using like, for example, like Canon lens. So 2 lenses will work in X lenses and 3 in the body. So this is one of the unique features in this camera. And silent shooting, I like.
What do you say about this? Because some people, when they do long exposure, they normally turn off steady shot.
Okay, this is a good question. Once you use any camera with a tripod, you should turn off the steady shot because it's already stable. So sometime the sensor will start to move. So it will create like kind of movement in your pictures. That's why once I use tripod, I turn off the steady shot, even without long exposure, to be honest. Like even in the morning, like let's say, like I'm using 400 millimeter, but I don't want to hold it all the time. So I will use tripod, I turn off the steady shot. So this is the reason, because it's once you start to move anything in the camera, will start to, the sensor will start to going up and down, right, left. So maybe you will pan. So there is like movement will happen. The camera will think that, okay, there is something wrong happen. I will fix it. But it will destroy your photo. So that's why they turn it off. Yeah. In photo or video or both? Okay. Once I say that you can use like high ISO with less grains and noise, in the end there is a limitation. Like I didn't say that I can use it like the 300,000 ISO and it will be like super shiny bling bling photo. Of course, no. But once you compare like what is the maximum ISO that you can use it with the all systems, you will find that, let's say in DSLR, what is the maximum ISO that you can use it to be in the safe side, or you can accept the grains, because there is a grains you can accept it, and there is grains you cannot accept it. You can say like, let's say like 2,000, let's say maximum you cannot, 2,000, and even you will feel like guilty from inside, like why I'm using 2,000, but you can. But like with Sony, because, okay, there is like kind of like the noise reduction and the processing inside the camera, it's remove a lot of this noise effect. And the structures of the sensor, how will accept the light, even like all the light, that's why it will give you like less grains. But like the maximum, like we can take pictures and just like see it. So let's say, let's do like two examples, one for photo, one for video. But I want to, no, without changing the lens, it's okay. So let's say video, for example. Okay, so let's say video, and then, okay, my settings, like let's say 1/60, 2.8, ISO 2000. It's still dark, okay? Once you find grains, all of you just like told me stop, okay? So, okay, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. What, there is any grains? Okay, acceptable or not acceptable? Exactly. But it's 25,000, and we still start to say it's acceptable. Like, I can use it. Like, you will didn't, till now, I didn't feel guilty. Till now, I didn't feel guilty. And then, okay, like, okay, already, like, I cannot go more, like, because I can do it with a different way. Like, let's say it's now like 32,000 ISO, and still, it's clear. Still, there is no bad grains. Like, I still can shoot like this. But what you can see here, that let's say in your shirt, there is all the highlight. You cannot see the details now, because the highlight, it's like eating all the details. But no, I want to recover these things. I can go for, I can go for menu, going to the picture profile, you know the logs? Okay, in photo, we're using RAW and JPEG, right? So we're using RAW to get more details so we can recover it in the edit, like whatever highlight, everything's. In video, we use logs. So the logs, it will give you like more details in highlights, more details in dark and black area. So yeah, it will create like already like recovering all these details, but it will give you like very flat colors. So later you will do the color grading, like the cinematic process. Anyway, like in all cinema camera, you will find there is logs. So you will get very flat color, and then you will add the colors later, but they use it just like to get the balance between highlight, mid-tone, and dark black area that you cannot get it in a normal settings. So here, picture profile, and then I will going for, let's say, S-log2. So yeah, I will keep it log 2, and, and cinema. And then, again, I will going to, so you remember 32,000 before, how it's look? Look now, it's flat, but I still can see now all the details in the highlight area and the dark area. Like if we will compare this with, and then I will do it off. So the camera already give you more details, but with flat color, and later you will do it like in Final Cut or DaVinci, whatever, like the software that you will use. So this is like feature that you can use it in video. And this is, it will be even give you less noise and grains. That the amount of noise that you can get it with the S-logs, it will be less than the one without S-log. But let's talk about photo. We do an example for video. So let's say, okay. Okay, so let's start with 3,200. Because I know 2,000 it will be okay. Like I know the camera. So like let's say 3,000, but I need more light. Okay, so, okay, here. Okay, that's great. So like anyway, it will be like here. You can see something. Just now, everything, you can see that my frame, it's moved, right? Once I press, half press, it becomes stable. Because this is, once the 5x, it will start to work. It's on, and it's a 7200, so it's a heavy lens. Where's the light? Oh, here. So I will take this. So why I choose this area, because in the black you can see the grains more. So there is grains in 3200, but still, like, I can accept this. I didn't lose any details. If I were going like, let's say 5000, and, oh, sorry. And then, as a final result, still I can accept it. Let's say if I were going to 10,000, I cannot accept it. You will start to see the grains, that it's become 10,000. So like even like from 2,000 to 10,000, there is a lot of range. So that's why I say like the ISO performance, it's totally different. And it's really totally different experience once you use this system compared like to the others system for the ISO. That's why, like let's say for a night or astrophotography, we like you can go like really high ISO, like the picture like 100, 2000 ISO, and I still can get more details. But in the end, I will say that if I will going to shoot very low light pictures, I will go not for 7R. I will go for 7S. Because this is the things, because there is a relation between pixel number and pixel size. You know what, like, okay, pixel number, once it becomes very high, like 7R3, 42 megapixel, pixel size, it will become very small. Advantage, collecting more details, resolution. Pixel number, once it becomes very low, like 12, the size, it becomes very big. Each pixel, it becomes big. Advantage, collecting more light. That's why, like even now, once I make like 7R to 7S in ISO performance, I will find that in 7S, it will be more sensitive than 7R. Because it's now we play with the pixels. I cannot control it from here. So that's why we have this tools. Like it's depends what you want to use it. Any other questions? Yes. Okay. Okay. Like if you will use like underexposure and then you will recover it in the edit? Okay. For me, I don't recommend like to shoot high, like overexposed photo and then recover it. Most of the time, like one step under, to be honest, and then I recover it. Why? Because like once I going for the normal exposure, you will get the right exposure and all the details, it will be right. But sometime in the highlight area, it will be like kind of very overexposed. So once you start doing your normal edit, you will start to do two things. You will start to edit too much editing for all the highlight shiny area, or you will start just like creating like a lot of masking and everything just like to keep fix this area. So that's why I do it like, for me, I do it like one stop under. There is a limitation. There is a limit. No. No, it will be not, okay, like you cannot going like, for example, to like very underexposure. Okay. And which one you will? No. It's okay. It's a calculation in the end because I can get the same exposure from 400 or like same final exposure image once I use like let's say 1 over 60, 2.8, 400, and just I do the same settings but with 100. No, no, it will be, of course, because once the pictures, it will be, okay, there is a lot of details you will use it once it become under. So it will be depend like till which limit of underexposure you will use. That's why this is my questions. There is like, because even like for overexposed, there is a limit that I can recover. And there is over than this limit, I cannot. For underexposure, it will be the same. There is a limit that I can recover. Yeah, so, but there is no proper ISO to get the proper exposure, to be honest. The only things that you can get it, in any camera in the world, you will find that there is a native ISO and expandable ISO. The native ISO, this is like the native one. The other one is like a kind of like an artificial ISO. So if you will be inside the range of the native ISO, that's mean that if I will use 400, it will give you like the 400 sensitivity of the ISO. But there is no, there is no proper ISO to get the right exposure. This is wrong. For me, I shoot like one stop under. This is my reference. But for me, because I know what I will do in the edit, back for the highlight area, because I don't want to spend like too much time to edit highlight area. I want to keep it like as it is. Yeah. Yes.
Taking photo regarding picture profiles, what are your criteria on selecting proper specific picture profile on specific situation?
Logs, you mean? For the S log?
How do you select picture profile?
Okay, in photo.
Yeah,
In photo, I don't use picture profile.
okay.
Picture profile, it's purely for video. The only way that sometimes, to be honest, that you can use picture profile in photo, that let's say, if you will shoot video, but you want to take still from this video, and or you want to shoot video, and you want, like, let's say this is the scene that I want to take it as a video, and I have my editor, for example. So this is my, I will use like S-Log2, Cine1, so I will take one photo with this settings, give it to him as a me reference to see what's the color grading will look. So this is the only way that I use it in photo. But there is, in picture profile, there is like recommended one if you will use it for a very low light, if you are in a dark area, like let's say night shot, and there is no light at all, and if you will use it during the daylight. So like let's say, for example, S-Log2 Cine1, I will use it in the morning. Let's say at the Cine1, like other setting, I can use it at night, because it will give you a different recovery results in video and editing, and coloring, sorry. But in photo, because I'm using RAW, so what the point to use picture profile? I can create the same colors with the RAW file.
Because these things are available when you are in photography.
Yeah. Like let's say,
That's why I'm wondering, like maybe there's a use case for
to be honest, this is if I want to take like one still photo to see what's the final result after the color grading, I can take it as a still. Or sometime, like let's say, I will go to movie, cinema. So sometime look here, let me going back to reality. And let's say, Cine1 and cinema. Sometimes I use this profile for a normal photo. So it will give me like the colors that I see it, but like less contrast and saturation. So it will give you this kind of like flat cinematic color. Sometimes I use it like this. Because you can, in details, you can go and control a lot of things. I can control like the black levels. I can control the saturation, the color phase, the color depth. So like you already have, you can color grade from now. So like I can go and just like control everything, and then I can see my final result. So sometimes I use it for this. For street, to be honest, it will be sometimes nice. Or if you will shooting like at 12 p.m., that it will be very difficult to control the highlight and the dark, I can use picture profile. Because in Photoshop, it's easier, to be honest, to color grade more than video. I know that it's a lot of process for video to color. But in photo it's easy because you can have your lot and just like save it for all the photo. You can do it. So yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Okay. لا. Okay, his questions, there is a difference between the focus in the screen and the viewfinder. No. مفيش أي فرق. اللي انت هي mirror. مش يعني هي اكنها mirroring. اللي انت هتشوفه على اللايف فيو هو اللي بتشوفه على الفيو فايندر. فما لا هي اللي هي الفكره الفيو فايندر هو ملوش اي حاجه جوه ليها علاقه بالفوكس سيستم. هو الفرق الفيو فايندر هو فيه زي شاشه زي تي في صغير متوصل على السكرين اللي هنا، فهي بيعكس لك الصوره اللي انت شايفها، بس ما بيأثرش على الفوكس في اي حاجه. الحاجه الوحيده اللي انت ينفع تغيرها في الفايندر الفريم ريت. الفريم ريت انت عايزه هاي ولا لو؟ ليه؟ لا الكترونيك، فالداتا بتتحرك في كيبل فبيحصل لاج، تايم لاج بتوين السكرين للفايندر. فلو عملتها هاي وتشوت مثلا 10 فريم بير سكند ازاي الداتا هتروح اسرع، بس مش بتأثر على الفوكس. تماما. بص هو ممكن يكون الفرق الوحيد اللي انت بكنترول الكاميرا اكتر، فالبرفورمانس بتاع الفوكس بيبقى الحركه اقل فبيبقى بتفوكس اسرع، لكن كفوكس سيستم ملهاش علاقه بالفايندر. Okay. Okay, this is a good question. He said like, what's the difference once we shoot video in manual mode and once we shoot the video in the video mode? الفرق انت في المانيوال مود نفترض، خلينا نعمل سيناريو في المكان ده. انا هنا دلوقتي نفترض السيتنجز اللي انا عايزها عشان تديني صوره كويسه، نفترض مثلا 1/50 و مثلا اوكي 1 مثلا على 50 اف نمبر وات ايفر والايس او بتاعك وات ايفر. اوكي، فالاكسبوجر عندي تمام صح؟ لو صورت فيديو نفس السيتنجز صح؟ نفس السيتنجز، بس الفكره انت الفريم ريت بتاعك قد ايه؟ الفريم ريت بتاعك في الفيديو نفترض انت عامله اتش دي 50، يعني لازم الشاتر سبيد بتاعك يبقى 100. فساعتها لما تيجي تصور هتلاقي الفيديو بتاعك في يعني مش سموث، مش بيتحرك بسموث. فانا رايي لو انت بتغير ما بين فوتو لفيديو خليك الام للفوتو 1 للفيديو. فلما تغير الدايل اللي انت في الفيديو مود هتعمل ايه؟ بتغير 1 2 3 بتفضل تروح كتير، بس لو عملتها 1 انا على طول هي 1 ستيب. فرحت للفيديو ال1 دول اسمهم ريكول سيتنجز. ريكول سيتنجز يعني انا ممكن اغير كل الكاميرا السيتنجز وبتتسيف في نمبر 1 بالشاتر بالوايت بالانس بالبيكتشر بروفايل بكل حاجه. فدي اسهل، دي اكنها شورت كات. انا بصور فوتو ام، بصور فيديو 1، بصور سلو موشن 2، بصور سايلنت شوتنج 3. مفيش فرق في الكواليتي، الفرق في السيتنجز نفسها.
هل الكاميرا هي ذكيه في كفايه انها تخليها فيديو مود
لا الفكره في المانيوال اللي انت في النهايه انت بتصور فيديو، فايه السيتنجز اللي انت ما انت لازم تتحكم. حتى لو هي اوتو هتيجي في مرحله وانت لازم تتحكم في السيتنجز بتاعتك. بالظبط، يعني مثلا الفكره بالظبط، يعني هو دلوقتي بيصور فيديو هي على البي على بروجرام فهي اوتو، بالظبط. لو المانيوال انت ساعتها حطيت السيتنجز، بس لو الاوتو هتلاقيها هي بتقرر الابتشر والشاتر سبيد والحاجات دي كلها، فبتديك ارقام غلط. هي بتقرا النور هتديك اكسبوجر صح، بس كسيتنجز تتوافق مع الفريم ريت بتاعك اكيد هتبقى غلط. بالظبط. فلا انا رايي لو انت يا اما تعمل اساين ريكول، يا اما تروح على فيديو مود وتروح فانكشن وتختار من هنا مانيوال، هي اوتوماتيكلي هتروح للبي بروجرام، روح مانيوال. او شاتر بيريوريتي، فتتحكم في الشاتر وهي تقرر الباقي. فده رايي. اوكي like okay his questions that once we start to going, let's say for a manual mode, and then let's say my settings during, now let's say in this environment, I'll keep it like 1/50, 2.8,600. So once I press record, the camera will start to record. Like let's see here, it's now recording, but my settings, it's wrong. Because in video, the main things that you should keep it fixed, the shutter speed. So it will be depend or sync to the frame rate. So let's say my frame rate here, it's like 650. So I will keep it as 100, as a double. Like 60, 125, like this. So it will shoot, but in the end, you didn't feel like smooth in your video. So I told him like my recommendation that you can see here M, right? Like manual and shutter speed, shutter priority, aperture priority, all those things. But there is 1, 2, 3. We call it as a recall settings. So recall settings, I can do it like one. Let's say, so let's say here, I will do it like this. So, okay, this like example. What you will do to do the recall settings, I will change my settings. I will keep it like 100. Let's say 1,000, for example. 3.5. My white balance, I want to keep it for, let's say, like sunlight, direct sunlight. My picture profile, I want to do it, yeah, let's say I want to keep it off, okay? And then I will go into the recall. Recall settings. Oh, it's not here. Yeah. No, this is face registration. Okay. Send. And then here, I will go into the recall. And then you will find that, oops, okay. No, it should be saved. So once you do your settings, bracketing. So in custom, where? Oh, so I will go for the custom, for custom key, and then I will say, like, let's say you will choose the recall. So like once you press, let's say 1, it will give you the settings that you save it. So like here, no, not set. So shutter, following customs. So like let's say once I press C1, so like let's say here I press C1. Oh, okay. No file, manual. So 1. So like let's say here. No, okay, 1 minute, because I want to see it from here. Recall, so I will choose this settings. So like now it's manual, 100, 3.5. I will go for recall. I will save it on number 1. with this settings that you see it. So once I go here to number 1, it will give you the same settings that you save it. Once I go on, let's say manual again, and change to white balance 02, and I will change my shutter speed to 30, 2.8. So now it's with this settings. Once I go into number 1, it will give you the same recall settings that you already do it. So this is, and then I can record video. So it will give you still the same settings. So this is how you can jump from photo to video in the same time. And in the recall, even I can just like do it from here and just like save it as a memory number 1, 2, 3, 4, save it in your memory card, and then I can send it to the other camera. So I can get all these settings, same settings as a second camera, if you were shooting 2 cameras in the same time. So yes, any other? Oh, okay. Recall, let's say in manual mode, okay? You will change your settings. Like let's say I keep it like 1/100, 3.2, 500, any settings, whatever, all the settings. You will going to tab menu number 1, and then memory, and then you choose. You want to save it in number 1 or 2 or 3 here, like 1 or 2 or 3. I will say number 1. So it's registered, so it will be saved in number 1. Like once I go into number 1, you can see that this is my shutter speed, X, Y, Z, everything's inside the camera. It's saved. I can just like send it to other file, or I can do it like 1 for video, 2 for slow motion. First, you should edit it in manual, and then even with the menu and everything, and then save it to 1, 2, 3, whatever. So because like even for S&Q, like slow and quick, time lapse and slow motion. So let's say if I will going like for video mode, and then I change my settings to, let's say 100 frames per second, like as 120 frames per second, and just I start to shoot, it will not be a slow motion. It will be a normal video. Why? Because I should keep it S&Q. So sometimes I do it like this. I do it like 1 for X settings for photo, 2 for normal video, 3 for slow motion. So I don't need to jump between video to slow motion to time lapse, let's say. So you can recall it every, like all the settings in 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. But from manual, you create everything with the menu. And yeah, any other, yes? لا لا عشان ما فيش انعكاس في الدي اس ال ار كنا ساعات بنغطي الفايندر. لا لو بتصور لونج اكسبوجر استرو لا ساعات لو يبقى عندك مثلا النور بتاع الكشاف بيأثر على الاكسبوجر. لو انت بتستخدم دي اس ال ار اللي هي مرايه في النهايه، هنا لا اللي هي electronic. Just like questions that, like for example in long exposure or astro, sometimes we cover the camera with any black things, so the camera cannot get any light from the finder. So here, no, because it's electronic viewfinder, so there is no mirror, there is no prism, and there is no mirror in the end. So that's why, no, it's okay. That's why, like with long exposure, sometimes I use light to see it because I know that it will not reach to this area. Yeah. So yeah, other things that it's in the camera, like let's say pixel shifting. Pixel shifting, it's not available, to be honest, like in all the others camera. Anyone know about this features? Multi-shoot. Pixel shifting, it's okay. The camera will take 4 photos. Okay, there is a 5x. So we start to link all the features inside the camera to create this feature. So there is a 5x. It will work like we know how it will work. And it's a digital word, like RGB, to create all the colors. So the pixel shifting, the camera will take 1 photo as a main layer. And then the 5x or the sensor will move. let's say to the right, and read, and the priority, it will be for all the red colors, and then move down for all the green, move for all the blue. And just like merge all this 4 photo, it will give you 1 pictures with 100, but I cannot use it in anything. It should be statics. The camera on a tripod, and the object, it's 0 movement. So it will be good for products, or interior architectures, landscape, yes and no, because the tree. start to shoot. Now it shoots, but there is no sound, right? Because I don't silent. So this is the silent shooting. That camera shooting, but you cannot hear anything. Because the shutter curtain, it will not work. The camera, the sensor will start to read. So this is the time lapse. How it will. Because I finished already.
It's all the live, they're not hearing. It's live streaming, they're not hearing voice. It's streaming over there, that's not live streaming, they can't hear the voice.
Okay. So yeah, one other things.
Before there was an app for this, right?
Yes. Okay. For the app, there is play memory. Not even play memory. Inside the camera, there is application list. Before there is like an application for time lapse, but it was before not working in our region. So in Mark 3, once we release it, already we remove all this application. So everything you can control it from your application, play memory. Now it's become imaging age. So this is the update for the application. But for the old version, like R2, let's say there is a time lapse, but you can download it not in specific reasons. That's why we remove all this application. But we add the S&Q, so you can do it but as a video. And then here, we add it as a photo. But from the application, the things that now you can control it from let's say your mobile phone or iPad or whatever. Let's say if I am in a studio environment and I want to tether, but I want to tether wireless. I can use my application, mobile application. I will take photo directly. I can see it in my iPad. So it's nice, to be honest. Like for me, like I use it more than the computer. Like I want to feel free. I don't like cables. That's why it's happened. Because I have a fish memory that there is a cable. I like to keep everything wireless. So in the application, you can download it in, let's say, your phone or your tablet. And you can just like make it as transfer everything from, let's say it's like control from your mobile phone. And I will take the photo on the spot. You can see it in the screen, the phone or iPad. Let's say I can just like mirror the camera to the iPad or mobile phone. So I can change the settings, everything. I can see the live view. So I don't need even to use the camera. Everything it will be like, let's say, if in the tabletop. So I can control it from my phone. Or I can control it from my imaging age. Because like an imaging age in tethering, I can even control the focus. I can focus through my computer as a manual focus. I can choose the focus with your mouse. That you can do it like this. So the focus? Imaging age. In imaging age, you can tether, you can control the camera settings, you can send the time-lapse pictures to your phone, and just like you want to see it as a photo or you want to see it as a final result, as a video. What else? You can share like a 4K video, like let's say if you are a videographer and I want to share the video that I shoot on spot to someone, just like I can send it to the phone. Before you cannot transfer 4K video. You can transfer normal video. Compressed one, yes. No, it will be original, JPEG, but with original size. Even if it's RAW, it will go to your phone with the same size, but JPEG, not RAW. Yeah. And and there is one more thing. From the imaging age, there is another app. It's called Transfer and Tagging. So this one, it's like for the pro. Like let's say if I am a sport photographer or photojournalist, and let's say I'm my agency in US, but I have a task, let's say in Dubai. So I'm shooting, let's say, a very important football game. So I will take one photo. It's directly on spot going to my phone, the camera, and my phone, or the camera, it's connected to the satellite as a FTP server. So once I take this photo coming to my phone, I can add like a voice note or a comment. Like let's say the match, it will be the opening of XYZ. And then I will press send. The camera will send it to satellite to US on spot, so the copywriters can publish it. So this is even. even that's why in A9, let's say, you can find like something. You can find LAN cable. I can connect the LAN cable like before, like once you use like cable things to the camera, connected to the satellite, and I can send my photo any place in the world. If you have like the IP address and the FTP address and everything. So this one like for the, like this kind of like newspaper photojournalist usage. So this app, transfer and tagging, it's available but in limited regions. But Imaging Age, the normal, the mobile software or the mobile version, it's now like even if you have like a play memory, the old version, once you update, it becomes Imaging Age. So this one, you can really do a lot of things with the camera through your phone. Even like I can use it as a geotags. Like I can take photo now. Once I copy it to the computer, give me that this photo it was in Dubai, in downtown, in Hipa. So you can get like a location, and it's be automatic. Like now, once I turn on the camera, all the time it's connected to my phone, so I can get a location. But I didn't use, like I didn't transfer all the time my photo to my phone because there is no, like already I will finish all the space. So I use it once I want. Like I can see all the photo from here and just select. I want this, copy or share. And because it even connect and sync to your social media things. So yeah, so this is like not everything's about the camera, there is more, but this is like the main things that I want to share it and highlight it with you. So yeah, of course. Auto exposure lock. AEL. AEL لما بتشوت continuous, like لما بتشوت continuous shoot مثلا من هنا لهنا النور بيتغير، بتعمل لوك للاكسبوجر عشان ما يتغيرش معاك. لو انت عامل settings معينه بيخلي الاوتو اكسبوجر يقف، فتفضل على نفس السيتنجز بتاعتك. هي مورلي للكونتينوس شوتنج يعني. اوتو بالظبط. بالظبط اللي هنا بالظبط، ده بتلوك الاكسبوجر بتاعك ما تخلوش يتغير في الاوتو يعني. يس
in file naming sequence,
اه
sequencing, in the photo I can set that it is series, but in the video it resets.
yeah, in photo you can control it, in video you cannot control
I
it.
have a problem that I wasn't able to copy because it's the same name. So is there a way in the video?
Same name as a photo.
No, it should be not the same name as the video. As I, if I have another set of shoot. So you cannot set the.
See, as a renaming, no, you can do it in video, but you cannot do it in, sorry, you can do it in photo, you cannot do it in video. But this is one of the things that we already get a lot of feedback about it. Yeah, so we will, let's see, yeah. So yeah, thank you anyway. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy the session, and I hope that in the futures and soon you can just like try Sony cameras. And just like before I finish, I want just like my team, just like they want to announce something related to our products.